This is Pan-African Morning. Check your time with ours. It's just gone after 7 o'clock Central African time. I'm your host, Audrey Chimanda Twala. Thank you so much for staying with us. We are on channel 500 on Starsat on Galaxy Universal Network. And of course, if you're watching us at home or at work, you will find us on our Facebook page that is live as we speak. Our social media platforms are there for you to interact with us. Our Twitter handle at GUN_TV_. On the green couch, as I promised you before the break, we have Dr. Sihle Sibia. He is from Insika Economic Movement. And we normally have him on the show, but today he's wearing a different hat, which he will be explaining to us today. Dr. Sibia, welcome back to Pan-African Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Greetings to you and greetings to the viewers at home.
Now, I'm opening Insika Economic Movement's website. It says it is the voice of reason that exists to be the primary platform to address African challenges and opportunities emanating from social, political, economic, and religious developments. I give it to you to expound on that.
Yes. No, thank you for the opportunity to come in and share with the people of this country what we are doing in our little corners where we are. But as we have rightfully said, Insika was started in 2019 mainly to be the primary platform for Africans to be able to respond to their problems, challenges and opportunities. We have observed a number of things happening in our country, being from the political space, being from the religious space, but what unites South Africa is the fact that we are Africans. And we remain excluded from the economy, while the minority in this country, they are able to come together and respond to what is challenging them, and also try to make sure that they're able to maximize from their opportunities. So we are coming together to say it's important now that we start to use our majority as black people in this country to benefit ourselves, but also to build this country, because I think we are where we are because as Africans we have failed to come together, and so that we can then be able to respond to the challenges and the forces that are continuously oppressing Africa in particular. So, and we cannot be able then to respond to that if we continue in our different corners as Africans. So if we are serious about taking charge and to be part of developing this country, we need to come together and unite and maximize on our capabilities going forward, because other than that, there is no way in which you can then be able to fight the international forces that seem to be at play when it comes to our economy, when it comes to politics, and even in the religious space. We have seen what has recently just happened in this country. So we are saying Africans, it's time now to come together. But also I think there is a number of reasons that South Africans, they need then to take the advantage of this platform that we have put before them. One of those is the fact that in this country we have got another country called Urania that belongs to a certain group of individuals. We have got what we call AfriForum that seem to serve interests of the selected few. And then we have got what is coming up now, the Africans only university in this country.
Correct.
So that then is the reason why South Africans, especially Africans, they then need to be able to unite and then to be able to respond to their challenges rather than saying they want to be called into the party. I think it's them that they need to take control and call others to come to the party, not them to be called, because they are a majority. But we are not using our majority in a right way to really drive the development of this country.
And what you're saying reminds me of an interview that I had last week at Dr. Sibia, where I had a guest who were talking about agroeconomy and which part of farming exactly contributes to the GDP. We're talking about people wanting land. And the issue of unity was then brought back, especially networking, to say even if we take the majority of people that are disadvantaged and we give them land, we give them all these opportunities, if the networking system is still just, for the select few that have been the gatekeepers of the economies for the past, I don't know how many decades, then that remains problematic. What initiatives have you made as Insika to make sure that you have networking platforms that link people to the right what do you call it, to the right people, to make sure that, the value chain is also, they're also included in the value chain?
So I think in Insika we are addressing two main components. we need to start to address the social issues that are affecting our society. The social issues being that we need to start to look at how can we then, as the community, have a community that is really morally driven and morally grounded, to ensure that, for example, we are able then to start to save from the things like healthcare, things like the police service and so forth. Because if we start to have a community that is active and a community that is responsible, then there will be no crime happening in our society. There will be no illegal things happening in our society, because our society will be grounded on good moral values. So that is the first component that we are focusing in, which then you need to heal our society so that they are able to start to respond, because we cannot then say Africans, they need to start to be in control of this economy and other things while we don't prepare them mentally.
Right.
So we then need to be able to do that. That's the first component. But the second component is the economic component that you are touching on, to say, as much as we can do whatever that we want, if our people or the people of this country are not free when it comes to economy, there is nothing that they are going to hear. I used to make an example of saying, we can go and tell whoever that is stealing because he is hungry and tell him not to steal. He will tell you that I'm not going to steal, I know that is wrong. But still is going to go and steal because of the stomach and so forth. So we're saying we need to address the issues of the economy. We have partnered with an organization called Amandla Omnoto. They are playing in about more than 40 sectors of our economy, doing projects in that space. So we believe that they are relevant in our cause of ensuring that economically we develop our communities in that space. So to give an example of some of the projects that they are working on, projects includes like in the stock space, where then in agriculture, but then ensuring that in the goat space, where then, and also in the sheep space, so that people, they start to understand what is the business around that, the rabbit space and so forth. So it's not only limited to that. I'm just naming the few, but I want to then say the main reason for us to partner with them was then to say, look, in our agenda in really ensuring that South Africans are included in this economy, they then need to start to take part into the economy. And taking part means that at a community level, they need to start to be responsible, knowing exactly that the spaza shop that exists within the community, they are being owned by some of those. Because when we were growing up ourselves, we used to know the owners of those spaza shop, and those spaza shop, they were owned by people that we live with, that people that we know, and so forth. So we are saying we need then to go back and relook at all of those things and say, what is the best model to ensure that the informal economy is really benefit the people of this country? So that's what we are working on, ensuring, and we are very grateful for the fact that the membership of this movement is really coming up well. There is a number of people that are coming on board and saying we want to take part, because in our view, we said the time when South Africa, they are still going to be calling upon somebody to come to be their Messiah has gone. It is the time now for Africans to be their own Messiah. And taking in charge, because we are saying, if you put your own 10 rand and I put my 10 rand, giving the majority that we are having in this country, we can then be able to do more. So I
want to go back to the issue of spaza shops that you mentioned, Dr. Subia. It's just reminded me of what we're seeing happening in our township economies, where instead of your community members setting up spaza shops outside of the foreigners, which of course has been problematic, we're seeing your big retail companies, supermarket companies coming in and setting up as your spaza shops. Does that really translate to township economy?
It doesn't. That is the similar expropriation of local economy or informal economy by those that have got resources, which is what we are running away from by saying the Africans, they need to be their own Messiah, and ensuring that they are able then to use their power, but also they are able to say, as this a community, we are then can be able to form our own community trust and to be able to do things for ourselves going forward. So to us, it sounds as if that is the same privatization program that is going on in around the spaza shop in our society. And I don't think that is the way in which to drive inclusive economic development in this country. And in fact, it must stop, because we are calling upon the citizens of this country to say the informal economy must be owned by the local people in that community. So we are saying communities, they need to start to respond to their own challenges, so that they are then able to, if they find commonalities within other communities, then they're able to come together and mobilize resources and really respond to what is their challenge around them, but also their opportunity. So what we have done is that we have also mobilized skills in different sectors of the economy, including agriculture, including we are talking about in the municipal space to say we understand that the challenge there, municipalities are not performing well, but we have put together a team of experts that can then be able to assist local communities in even putting the model behind it, where then we can then be able to source funding that can then be able to drive, because we know that local municipality, they don't have enough funds to be able to respond to that.
Yes.
So that is to the extent that we are saying we need them to start to take things ourselves and to be able to respond to our challenges. So that it means that we then need to start to talk to what the skills that we're having as the people of this country and use our skills. We know financially we are not yet there, but with the few cents that we have, if we were to contribute and put it in one basket, but also maximizing from the collective capabilities, because we are saying if we are 10 of us, then looking at what we can do as far as the skill set that we'll find amongst ourselves is much better than just the one person.
Yeah.
So we are saying let's look into such models, so that we can then be able to really advance what we call fair, inclusive, sustainable economy in this country.
And I don't know if you've touched this, you might have said it, I think the issue of having skills is one side of it. And a lot of us really have skills, have some kind of a skill set, but turning that skill set into a business is a different animal altogether.
No.
What are you doing to make sure that those two meet? Because a lot of times you see people have a bit of money that they can get together with their friends and their community, but building an enterprise that is sustainable, that is longevity, that meets the needs of the community members, and sustaining it business-wise can be a bit challenging.
Definitely. I think there are two ways into that. There is a long-term one and there is a short-term one. The long-term one is that we need to fix our education system. Our education system is really disadvantaging this country in really progressing going forward, because our education system does not translate to really provide solution to our social challenges in our society. You'll find that we have got an engineer that went to school and get trained, but when they construct a road around where they live, then you'll find that that person really does not even do anything, even if he sees that that thing is of low quality, but there's nothing that he's doing. But he went to school and that is his own thing and so forth. That is the challenges that we are having. But also I think around that, the main critical thing, especially also around addressing the issues of social importance, is the fact that I think as citizens of this country, we have not appreciated our role as the citizen. Probably governance-wise, I think I would love to really reshare this with the people and the audience at home, is that the citizens of this country are the shareholder of our government when we look at the governance structure. So if you are a shareholder, which then simply means that the parliament then becomes the board of government, which is the corporate. So, and then you'll have the CEO, which is the president, and everyone else in there. So what does that mean? It means that being a shareholder of an entity that is more than $1 trillion budget a year, then you need to start to take yourself seriously. And in taking yourself serious, it means that you need then to start to be responsible in your action, but also be able to call those that really spend your money to ensure that it benefits you. But responding to your question that says now, how do we then translate the skill to the real business that is functional? What we have done, as I've said, we have put different skills that are then able to assist us in those communities. To say, if we go to a community of Soshanguve, for example, what we then do, they will identify opportunities in which then the community itself can then be able to participate. But understanding that probably they might not have the skills, is then we need to rope in the skills that we have as Insika to assist in ensuring that we are able to transfer the skills, but also to ensure that we build sustainable businesses in those communities. And building sustainable businesses needs to ensure that the community owns that business.
Sustainable and profitable.
And profitable, because if then the community does not own that business and they don't appreciate the value that comes with that, it's not going to go anywhere. So that is very critical. So that's why we are saying the issue of our society to start to appreciate their role, especially when you look at the governance structure, is very important, because it then gives a different perspective on what is happening in our society, because the community itself start to see themselves as the owners of almost everything that is happening in this country, and then they need them to be responsible in the manner that they really exercise their voting, they exercise everything that they do, because they understand the power that they have according to the governance structure.
Sense of ownership, knowing that you know, this belongs to us. I think that's very important, because that way that shapes the mind of people, and you know, the moral regeneration that you spoke about also is very important. Dr. Sihle, thank you for speaking to us this morning. Of course, people that want to find out more about what you do, your website is there for you. I don't know if you have any other platforms that people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, we are there on social media, on both I think it's Twitter and also Facebook. We share our views, and we like to interact with our members. I think that's where it's a very interactive platform for us. We have learned a lot from our members, but also I think we are able to build from what we get from them, and including our partnerships. But also we have got our website, which is www.insikaem.co.za, where they can get more information about what we are doing. We are calling upon all South Africans. We are saying the time for you to take a back seat and to have a don't care mentality is not working to the advantage of this country. If you really care about this country, you need to take part, and you need to ensure that we are able then to, as Africans, to be included into this economy, and no one is going to put us in there. We need to do it ourselves.
I have to ask you this very quickly. I was going to end the interview. The downgrading of South Africa, I absolutely need to hear your views on that. With the ratings agencies saying we've gone to junk status, how does it affect the man on the ground?
It affects us because we know that we are living in a global space. But probably for the poor, I don't like to say this. They say there is a new term called poor of the poor, and I don't know whether it exists and so forth. But I don't think from somebody on the ground is really going to feel that to that certain extent, because already we know what this pandemic has done to our society. And so for me, I think it did not come as a surprise. Is something that we see upcoming, but also is that, as I've said before, government has presented the what is it is called the recovery plan, and for me it's difficult to believe it. There are two reasons why it's difficult for me to believe it. One is that our own government has failed to turn around Eskom. So, and they've also failed to turn around SAA. So, and then now they are telling us that they want to turn around the whole country, and that's why I don't believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's have more of these conversations, Dr. Sibiya. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We hadn't run out of time. So much to speak about. You can find them on their social media platforms. Insika Economic Movement is also on Facebook and their Twitter. And find out what they're about, be a part of their community, and see how it can benefit you and how you can also benefit them. It's a two-way conversation. Dr. Sibiya joining us on the Green Couch. We'll have to leave it there for now. We will take a very short break thereafter. We'll take a look at our sporting action, and before we hit another half hour at 7:30. Do stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
Feel the